Alright, the subject of this video is going to be antiderivatives. So consider, if you will, the following function. F of x is equal to x cubed. I ask you to differentiate this function, hopefully fairly straightforward task by this point in the semester. Applying the power rule would give us 3 times x squared. So a little use of terminology for you here. We would say that with respect to x, 3x squared is the derivative of x cubed. Now, as is typical in most math classes, as soon as we learn how to do something one way, we generally talk about how to do it the opposite way. An antiderivative is, well, it's the opposite of taking a derivative. So by the same token, we would also say that x cubed is an antiderivative of 3x squared. Now, I learned more about the English language structure by taking a Spanish class than I ever did by taking an English class. I discovered the difference between definite articles and indefinite articles, and I am going to underline them right here. The is referred to as a definite article in the English language. It typically means that there is only one of something. For example, if I say I need to go feed the cat upstairs, it implies that there is one cat upstairs. Whereas when I say an antiderivative, that's an indefinite article and lets us know that there could potentially be more than one. I have an cat, no, I guess that doesn't work. I have an angry cat upstairs. Angry because she is not full of food. There we go. That works out perfectly. It implies that there could potentially be more than one of them. Now, the reason that I bring this up is I could define several other functions like g of x is equal to x cubed plus 7, or h of x is equal to x cubed minus 9001, or simply y equals x cubed plus pi. In all three of these instances, if I were to take a derivative of each of these, I would wind up with the same thing in every single case. As soon as I take that derivative, I wind up getting 3x squared. So technically, an antiderivative of 3x squared could be any of these functions, or it could be this original f of x that we had up top. So the idea is, if we're interested in finding the most general antiderivative, this is going to involve the potential to have a constant added on. In the first case, there was no constant added on, but we could do a plus 7 or a minus 9001 or a plus pi, or generally, it could be any constant. So the most general antiderivative involves a constant. We can say this more generally using the following theorem. Now, the notation that we use for derivatives is generally we see primes associated with things. For antiderivatives, we're just going to go with capital letters. So if capital F is an antiderivative of little f, then the most general antiderivative of little f is capital F of x plus c. So with that in mind, using the notation that we were using before, if f of x is equal to 3x squared, and I'm looking for the most general antiderivative of this, I would call that capital F of x is equal to x cubed plus c, where c represents a constant. Typically, C will be the notation that you'll use, and if you're taking a look at WebAssign problems, I believe they use capital C for their generic constant.